STEM and Programming. Introduction continued. Programming is a skill that is quite developed and widespread today. In our daily routine, we encounter programming. To make programming a little closer to people who are not active in it daily, the basic terms are defined. Input. Information that enters the computer. User input includes text, a click, or a button press. Internet. Global computer network of networks that carries World Wide Web, electronic mail, file sharing, and telephony. IP address. A number associated with a website or device on the Internet. Printers and computers have IP addresses. Loop. One of the most fundamental and powerful coding concepts. A block of code that is intended to be repeated several times. It will execute until the condition is met and the program reaches the command to stop. It is an important part of any game or video. It is present in almost every program. One pass of the loop is called an iteration. Every time a block of code is executed, it counts as one iteration of the for or while loop it belongs to. A good example of a loop orders the user not to proceed to the next page until they have entered the accurate username and password. For loop. A block of code that is repeated several times. The programmer must define the number of times the program must be repeated. In mathematics, the sum of x number can be calculated using the loop. For loop, second example. In this program, I starts from 1 and after each execution increases by 1, I++, until it reaches 5. The printf command prints "Hello everyone" to the screen. This program will write on the screen "Hello everyone" 5 times. While loop. A block of code that will repeat continuously as long as a true condition is associated with the loop. As with the if condition, the loop will execute the program if the condition is true. The only way to stop it is to make the condition false. In an example, the number at the beginning has value 1, and as long as it is less than 6, the while loop will be executed. Printf represents printing, and the number I will be printed as long as I is less than 6 is valid. After each print I is increased by 1. Infinite loop. A loop that never ends because it depends on a condition that is always true. Each loop should end, otherwise the program is stuck. Machine language. Long combinations of zeros and ones that run the computer. All programs must be transformed to machine language for them to work successfully. Machine learning. A type of artificial intelligence where the program can independently learn and improve the system from its own experience. Image recognition is a common form of machine learning. Neural networks. A computer program modeled based on the human brain. They can learn with experience just like humans. Object-oriented programming. Programming using classes and objects. A class is a prototype that defines what its objects can do. Each object within a class has properties of that class. In a real-life example, each person is an object belonging to the people class. Open source. Program or code that is free to use. Code that is open source can be used by anyone and modified. Operand. A value or variable used in operations such as addition, multiplication, division, etc. For example, in the equation a plus b, a and b are the operands. Operator. An arithmetic sign such as plus or minus, the sign for multiplication or division, but also the sign for less than or greater than. Operating system. The system that makes the computer work. It is responsible for organizing files and it determines which programs can be used on the computer. The most famous operating systems are Windows, Linux, Mac OS, Android, and iOS. Output: the content that comes out of the computer, i.e., what is obtained by executing the program. It can be text, but also sound or video. Parameter: the input of the function. It is replaced by the argument when the function is called. Pixel: the smallest graphic element of the image. It is a small square that can be various colors. Each image on the screen can be made up of hundreds or thousands of small pixels. Pointer: like variables, pointers contain information, but unlike variables, pointers contain a memory of the address instead of data. It points to an address at a specific location in the computer's memory. Program: an organized collection of instructions that, when executed, perform specific tasks or functions. The program is processed by the central processing unit, CPU, of the computer. An example of a program is Microsoft Word, which is a word processing application that allows users to create and edit documents. The browsers are also programs created to help in searching the internet. Programming: a code-written action that eventually develops into a computer program. Computational design, debugging, and scripting are also considered part of the programming process. Programming language: keywords and special rules that programmers must follow when writing code. Each programming language has its own set of rules and keywords, but also has much in common. The most famous programming languages are C, C#, Python, JavaScript, Java, CSS, and PHP. Robot: a device that helps people in everyday life. Robots are used to perform difficult, dirty, and dull jobs. Some examples are robot vacuum cleaners. Robots can help in education, and there are different ways for their use. There are small robots, such as Cublets, and more advanced, such as the Neo robot. Run: starting the program. Runtime: the period during which the computer program is executed. Search engine: it finds websites for the user based on the keywords specified by the user. Google, Yahoo, and Bing are the most famous examples. Server: a device that stores data, web pages, and other information that other users can access via the internet. Syntax: structure of the programming language, rules that say which order words must be written. Each programming language has its syntax. URL: text that we enter in the internet browser to reach the desired internet page. Every website has its URL. Variable: it contains a value, such as a text or a number. This value is changeable. The name of several variables in the code should not be equal, should not contain space, cannot start with a number, and contain some other special character except underscore. Some basic types of variables that are used in all programming languages are integer, only whole numbers; floating point, float, real numbers; character, char, one character, letter, number, or symbol; string, a series of characters, numbers, or symbols; boolean, true or false; Wi-Fi, a wireless method of sending and retrieving data. This method uses radio waves to send data. In the context of learning programming, we could talk about unplugged and plugged-in programming. Unplugged programming is a good way to develop an understanding of the very concept of programming and to develop this type of thinking. It is programming without the use of a computer. This type of programming is very good preparation for plugged-in programming that uses computers or robots for its use.